The group that they lead is called Twin Flames Universe. And the whole idea is based on the spiritual concept of twin flames. And in this dynamic, there is a runner counterpart and there is a chaser counterpart. And the separation of the twin flames, which is a part of the spiritual concept, is really where they're taking advantage of people. Because in some of these cases, they are telling people, well, this is your twin flame and you're just in separation and you have to do everything in your power to get them back. So people are literally getting thrown into prison, getting restraining orders against them, stalking people because of these teachings that are basically saying, oh, hey, even though you think you're in separation from your twin flame, that just means you aren't trying hard enough. Not that it's not the right person. And they guarantee what they call harmonious union as a result of their communities, which led to the craziest plot twist ever, which was they had 95% women in this community, and they ended up somewhat forcing people to transition their gender identity in order for there to be a divine masculine with the divine feminine. So it's a wild story. We just wanted to give you the context so that you know exactly what we're talking about. But one of the techniques that they are very known for using, I would call this a pillar technique, is something called the mirror exercise. This is why we're talking about them in the context of this episode, because the concept of everyone around you being a mirror is something that Cam and I talk about often. I've written about it many times and I will stand by it 100%. It is absolutely true. But just as anything can, any neutral tool can be used for the darkness or for the light. So the mirror exercise, according to Jeff and Shalia and this cult called Twin Flames Universe, which by the way is just a Facebook group.
Which is wild.
Honestly, that's insane. It is literally just a Facebook group, but wow. The mirror exercise is basically the first step is identifying the upset. So let's say that Cam ignored me. So Cam ignored me and it hurt my feelings. Step 2 is that you change all of the words to put it back on yourself. I ignored myself and I hurt my feelings. The third step is to ask yourself, is it true? But here's the plot twist. They tell you the answer is always yes. So the answer is always that you hurt yourself. You ignored yourself, okay? And then the last step is give yourself what you're seeking externally. So give yourself the attention that you feel you didn't get, or the love or the light or whatever you feel like you're not getting, you give it to yourself. Now on its face, walking through this exercise, you think to yourself, that doesn't sound too bad. All right, well, let's just bring it back to that third step where it's, is it true? Hint, the answer is always yes. Let's put this into an abusive context where, let's say, the two overlords, Jeff and Shalia, are basically trying to get you to do something, and they're making you not only feel incredibly bad, but they're forcing your hand in certain areas. They could easily use this tool as they're teaching it to abuse people and convince them that they're abusing themselves. That's what the tool will tell you if you use it the way that they're saying. So I had to just bring up this tool because if you were to look at parts of this, it can be very helpful. So the concept of a mirror, meaning that every person you talk to is just a reflection of parts of yourself. So when I am with Cam as my love and the person I spend the most time with, he reflects myself back to me. And this happens every day in ways that are big and small, ways that show me when he says something and it hurts my feelings and what is it within me that had my feelings hurt, and then I get to explore that. And the concept of a mirror is incredibly beautiful, but it can be used for abuse, which leads me to the conversation. This is the whole spirit of the DM that I received a couple of months ago, because she basically said she had a partner that would use concepts such as, well, I didn't actually hurt you. It's just a mirror of things you need to look at to avoid or escape accountability for his actions. And I want to talk about that today because accountability in relationships, especially if you're using advanced personal growth or spiritual topics to avoid accountability, is something that I feel many smart, high-achieving people have maybe tried to do or get away with in the past. So what comes up for you when I say this, my love?
People are so smart, that they find a way to rationalize to themselves something that's more convenient as opposed to what's actually aligned with their highest growth. And so I see this all the time where people would rather get a diagnosis to label them as something, whether it's anxious attached or depressed or whatever extreme you want to take it as. They want to be able to put themselves in a box and be like, I'm this. Cool.
Right.
I'm just going to stay here now for the rest of my life. And if anyone ever try to change me or ask about it, I'll just tell them that label. And I'm good. It's fine. People do that to themselves oftentimes. And what they do to others is the mirror exercise. I see this all the time, especially in the spiritual community, right? It's people not wanting to take accountability for them being a shitty person around things. It's the ultimate definition of spiritual bypassing, where you utilize certain language. This is the entirety of the Twin Flames Universe cult. They're using words that are actually legit, and they're tweaking them to fit a certain narrative to help others conform to whatever they want. I see this all the time, whether it's on that level of cult-like or just in relationships. And it's so sad to see, but this is what I'd ask oneself, right? If you have a boyfriend or girlfriend that you feel as if is saying things to you like, oh, that's just a reflection of you, that could be the truth. Oftentimes it is the truth, but we need to objectively look at them. Look at, is that a person that is known, or you know them as being someone who's very accountable to themselves? Has there been a time where they've reflected something onto you that you told, hey, maybe this is something, did they take that advice well? Are they actively on their growth journey themselves? Or does it simply feel like it's just a one-sided growth experiment where they can do nothing wrong, they're already fully healed, they're already fully enlightened, and you are the ones with the problem? And even if they mistreat you, even if they cross your boundaries, even if they abuse you to some extent, for some reason, that's never their fault. If that's the case, they're not actually healed, they're not actually enlightened. They have just found different words to keep the same poor, fear-based habits that they've developed probably since their childhood. So I see this all the time. And the real truth is, you know it. Just in your heart, you'll know if someone says something to you, whether that feels true or not. And it's really just embodying that initial gut reaction you get upon when this person is trying to manipulate you because it's convenient for them to do so they don't have to change themselves. They don't have to look in the mirror themselves. Or if it's genuinely, oh man, maybe this is about me. Maybe he wasn't actually ignoring me. Maybe I just didn't respond in 10 minutes, and therefore it triggered something from my past. And then I created a story that caused me to be angry and to feel like I was being avoided, and feel like I was being left alone, feel like I was being forgotten. And so I became angry. I became this. Oh, you ignored me. That's also true. That can happen often, but that doesn't seem to be the case in situations like this. If you see a pattern of people refusing to take any responsibility, it's probably them refusing to look in their mirror. So it's easier to tell others to look in theirs.